Welcome to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Gentleman podcast that deals with the early life of yours truly. And now, beginning part one of Laid Up, Does She Love Me? Myself and Jimmy. Jimmy? January 9th, 1:10 a.m. Unable to sleep, Jim goes to a case, opens it up, and lights up a couple cigarettes. He was having to stay strong because last night's battle between him and Christine made Betsy very tearful and Kyle very angry. 2 a.m. Central. In the living room, Jim reminisces about a promise he made to his mother-in-law before she left with Christine to the airport, that he would let her know about the test results with JR. 4:50 a.m. Central. The luggage is packed and ready to go. JR and Jim barely say anything to each other, despite Betsy's pleas that they try to get along. In the Chrysler, Jim and JR, Andrew and Margaret House. Kyle has already left for Irving for the cattle auction and nightly rodeo this week. 7:20 a.m. Central. The private jet carrying the Hendrick party taxis down the runway and departs Midland International Airport, bound for Phoenix Municipal Airport. 9 a.m. Mountain. At the Mayo Clinic, Dr. Marcus Stewart meets with JR and Jim. I don't know what to tell you. The results from Washington, D.C. are good on his cortisol and testosterone are too low. And last March, he collapsed at school, causing hospitalization. We are going to need to run some tests. Might even test for anemia. Jim doubles up his fist and stands up. Ain't no way in hell my boy has anemia. Why don't you check mine and my brother's birth records and blood type? St. Vincent's Hospital, Billings, Montana. 1937 and 1943. Jim barked like a drill sergeant. Okay, calm down. Dr. Richards said something about in his chart. I forget what those, but I will want to test it. Colonoscopy today. A nurse inserts an IV in JR's arm, and he is wheeled to the endocrinology lab on the 4th floor, room 435C. 10:30 a.m. Mountain. In Phoenix, as JR is in the endocrinology lab, still going through some lab tests, Jim is in the hospital room waiting for him, and on the phone on the Andrew House show, talking about his many-faceted plan for small business. 11:15 a.m. Mountain. Jim arrives at Lake Phoenix to Marlena's houseboat, where they sit there and talk business. Talk business for Jim and Marlena usually included foreplay, which involved champagne and sunblock with sweet nothings whispered in each other's ears. 1 p.m. Mountain. JR is resting when his Uncle Carl walks into the hospital room. So, Dad stepped out, Carl said. All that greed, all the things that can hold you back. I don't blame you for being angry at him for compensating the wrongs that happen when he's a little kid and foisting it on you. He's an ice lord compared to you. You turned out a lot better off because of your mother and because of her family. The mighty Swain family. I miss the hell out of him. It's Daddy's idea to have me hooked up to IVs and fed rice and beans. Well, I talked to Dr. Frost. He says you can be released by noon on Thursday. Thank you, Uncle Carl. Can you please tell me what really happened with my grandpa? Your daddy don't know I was half awake. Dad agreed to go to San Francisco for another few years in the Navy. And she, meaning Grandma, agreed to fly back to Midland with her family. And he was going to seek divorce by her through Texas jurisdiction. Her getting custody, all out, all cut and dried. At least that part. My Aunt Esther told me. Unlike Jim, I got tired as a little boy sitting and waiting for Daddy to come home. I didn't want a car. I didn't want a toy car. What I wanted was time with a man I saw as my daddy. And when he left, I stayed with Mama and Uncle Jim and Uncle Aaron. They took turn. They look after me on the weekends, especially. I never knew either one of them, but I do remember Grandma saying something about Uncle Aaron. He was a doctor, of course. Uncle Lorraine, she was a nurse practitioner. 3 p.m. Mountain. Using a redneck truck outside of some housing near the Mayo Clinic trailer park hospital in Phoenix. Jim, sitting on the tailgate of a pickup truck, answered some questions emailed to him from the press on the Just Plains Folks PR campaign. He knows his wife is opposed to this at this point, but he don't care. 5:10 p.m. Central. In Irving, Texas, Kyle checks into a trailer house being rented by a ranch foreman. So far, Kyle had only been able to sell 3 of the cattle. So, having some men take one of the trucks of the cows back to the ranch, he checks himself into the trailer for the rodeo, which would happen the rest of the week. 6 p.m. Mountain. Jim shares a stage with Marlena Biedrich at the Business Families Union Convention. 9 p.m. Central. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Betsy is fretting about JR. She's tried calling him, but he sleeps a lot. Jim is in Phoenix, but he's not talking. 9 p.m. Mountain. At the mansion in Phoenix, Jim and Marlena talk at the indoor pool. I'd love to see a man like you get in the pool and get on his knees, Marlena said. Sounds like my grandma Hendrick, Jim said. I mean no offense. You and me could take a big plunge with my plan and talk to you about what's going on. Cash-rich courtesan wants to know. Fine then, here we go. Jim walks into the pool, wearing an article of clothing as he further goes down. I agree to all to take all my plans. You agree for the next couple of nights to take all of me. Ready or not, I'll give you everything and more, Marlena said. Okay, now. January 10th, 2 a.m. Mountain. At the Mayo Clinic Hospital, in the hallway, 2 hematologists are debating whether or not JR has beta thalassemia minor. JR could hear the debate and only wish that his father could be there and explain things. 5 a.m. Central. The phone at Charlie's Nations rings in San Antonio as he shot up in bed and answered it. Yes, ma'am, Charlie said. Charlie, I'm booking you a flight to pick up JR in Phoenix. I especially told American Airlines you'd be seated together. Yes, ma'am. I'll charter a plane Friday morning, Charlie said. 5 a.m. Mountain. An elderly nurse walks in and wakes up JR to take a blood sample. She would then take it upstairs to the lab. Downstairs to the lab, where it would take a couple hours to analyze it. 10 a.m. Okay. Hope you enjoyed the J.R. Hendrick Texan Gentleman. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, become a part of the adventure. This is the James Hendrick Empowerment Network saying until next time, get ready for the rest of the story. It's going to get more interesting from here. Take care, and God bless you.